Thank you for tuning in to Hacks and Hobbies with your host, Junaid. We're visited by our amazing guests coming from all walks of life. Want to learn their story, their struggles, and their journey on how they got to where they are today. So stick around. In this episode, we get to speak with Kiki Connects. She is a transformational guide. She facilitates supportive spaces in order to step into the true and authentic you in the grooviest ways possible. Through her guidance, we can explore realms you never imagined existed. Without further ado, let's speak with Kiki Connects. How did she get her name to be Kiki Connects? Well, find out more in this episode. And I'm trying something different this time around. Usually, what I would do is I would do a little intro for you while we're on the phone. But then I'm listening to other podcasts, and they're like, you don't do that when you have somebody important on the line. You do that after the fact. So just jump into the conversation and not so that I'm not wasting your time.
Cool. Yeah.
And go from there.
Yeah. Just jump right into it and it'll show itself.
Yeah,
The introduction will come out.
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome to a new episode of Hacks and Hobbies. Today, I've got my good friend, Kiki Connects. Wait,
Mm-hmm.
that's not your name.
It is. That's what my name is.
Your last name is Connects?
Absolutely. I'm changing it. I'm originally, of course, my parents I didn't come out of the womb and they go, oh, Kiki Connects, perfect. But I am originally Kelsey Beth Ringenberg.
Okay.
And I have been Kiki since I was a little kid.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been many other nicknames before.
Yeah.
And Connects came to me a number of years ago because I was changing my email address, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And I originally changed my email address to kelseylistens@gmail.com.
Okay.
And during that week, I just so happened to be in Manhattan.
Mm.
And over that week, I don't think I had received more in my lifetime of people coming up to me and just vomiting their problems onto me. It was
because you listen.
because I put my email as Kelsey Listens. And also at that time, I wasn't even going by Kelsey. I was going by Kiki.
Yeah.
And I started to realize, holy moly, I do not want to be someone that is just here to listen. I'm here to connect people. And thus, I got rid of that email and I became kikiconnects@gmail.com. And then it has just stuck because I realized that the name that I give myself, the name that I want to become, and the alias, the different superhero cape that I want to put on is the person who is connecting myself to me in a deeper way so that I can help others and support others do the same. And my mission in this world is to face the disconnection of this world by being even more deeply connected to myself so that we can all rise in this feeling like we are all one and we are all a part of the same earth. We are all part of the same ripple effect.
Yeah.
And ever since I started calling myself Kiki Connects, it's my name on my Instagram, it's my name on my Facebook, it's my sign off on my emails, and people know me more as Kiki Connects now, which is really cool.
That's your brand. That's your personal brand right there.
It's my brand.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So Kiki Connects is who's on the line with us. We got a little, peek into how she got her name, and a little bit of journey behind all about Kiki. So Kiki, tell us a little bit about yourself. Where do you hail from? What's so awesome, that brought you to this point in time today, in 2020?
who is Kiki versus who you were, and what's your journey,
Hmm.
look like?
Good question. I am What's so interesting about me is that I feel as if I have had so many different lives up until this now moment.
Mm,
And I am about to turn 30. And if I were to think about the last 5 to 10 years of my life, I've
mm,
lived in 5 different countries, more cities than I can even count. I've delved into and experimented with so many different areas of professionalism and what that
mm,
means for me. And I've spent a lot of my time really asking the question of what the heck am I here to do? And what is it that is my passion?
yeah,
And for so many years, I was in the experimentation phase of my life, figuring out, okay, cool, I like that. Let's see what that does and what
mm,
happens in this sort of trajectory. And, oh, nope, don't like that. And
mhm,
so it's just been this constant trial and error experience to understand that all those little puzzle pieces I didn't know at the time, but they were coming together
yeah,
and they were allowing me to now I see it as this bird's eye view. And it's as if all the knowledge I've received over however many years, all of
mhm,
the wisdom that I carry, it was way up in my headspace for so long. And now it's just dropped into my body.
mhm,
And I feel so deeply in alignment with what I am doing and the person that I show up in and show up
yeah,
as. So I don't know if that totally answers your question, but I've I've
no.
lived it's like, what are the most interesting things about you? Is like, how much time do you have, man?
No,
I've lived,
absolutely. That was pretty accurate, short and sweet. So what are
yeah.
the different, countries did you get to live in? Because I've lived in 3 countries in total, and many different states. I think 3 different states altogether, but it's been a journey as well, right? So, and that's
Mm,
that's been over the past 43 years that I've been around. And like you said, you try different things and you like some things and you don't like the other things, and then you move towards the things that you like. And a lot of the times we're told what to do. We're told what we're supposed to be learning, and not really experimenting. We're, early on in school, we're taught to avoid failure, which is, I mean, failure is the taboo, which is really stupid because that is how you learn and how you grow. So tell me, what different cities did you hail from or got to live in?
mm. I have lived in 5 different countries, like I said before. I was born here in the United States, in Nashville, Tennessee. And I've lived in Arizona, New Mexico, different parts of Southern California. Then I moved to Australia at the age of 15. And I lived there for 10 years. And during that time, I lived in Brisbane, I lived in Sydney, I lived in the Gold Coast. And I, people, a lot of the time, they ask, where are you from? And that question for me used to be super difficult to answer because I genuinely did not feel as if I were from one specific place. And I spent half my life in the US, half of my life in Australia, and I have 2 passports, dual citizenship. So I felt deeply half half. I felt half Australian, half American for many, many years of my life. And then I also speak Spanish, and that's a huge part of me too. And so I lived in Spain for a while, came back to Australia, and decided that I wanted to live in Colombia. So I lived in Colombia for a year and a half in Bogota. During that time, I was It was beautiful. It really was. Colombia is such a beautiful country. And now that I look back in hindsight, I really think that it was the impetus to get me back into the United States. And I hadn't been back in the US for 12 years. I'd traveled and visited here and
Yeah.
visited family and friends, but hadn't lived here in 12 years. And I got this message from God one day when I was in Colombia asking me, okay, where do you want to go next?
Hmm.
Because you, I wasn't having a very, I wasn't having a good amount of luck with living in Colombia and being able to survive and able to earn the money that I needed in order to thrive in the ways that I wanted to. And I also didn't want to continue being an English teacher. So I gave it to God. So where do you
Yeah.
want me to go? Do you want me to go
Hmm.
to the US? Do you want me to go to Australia? And in that moment, no joke, I had a friend of mine that I knew
Hmm.
from elementary school in San Diego message me out of the blue. And he had just so happened to be living in Santa Cruz and had a room open up in the exact moment that I needed it.
Yeah.
And so I moved to Santa Cruz, California. I lived there for a little bit of time. And that was quite honestly one of the hardest transitions I've ever done because I didn't like the US for a long period of time.
Hmm.
Outside of the US, it's not seen as it's not highlighted as
No.
as the most expansive place to go to in the world.
Yeah.
And I really went on that train and didn't like to call myself American. I called myself Australian. I had a thicker
Hmm.
Australian accent back then. So I came to the US, had a hard time, struggled with lots and lots of different identity crises and trying to really figure out who I was.
Yeah.
And so I decided after 8 months that I was going to leave the US. And I decided to go to India because my mom was living there.
Hmm.
I lived there for a good few months working at the job that she was at and making my lunch in the morning going in, and it was really fun. It was really really fun. I was actually helping to teach Spanish to
Yeah.
a bunch of students who were at an international school in India,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
that was hilarious and amazing. And then I received guidance from someone in my dreams, and that someone was Tony Robbins of all
Oh.
people. He came to me in my dreams and told me to come to the US. I'm not even kidding.
That's so
uh,
awesome.
so I decided then and there that I was going to move back to the United States.
Hmm.
I booked a ticket back to the US, booked his Unleash the Power of Within seminar in Newark, New Jersey.
Hmm.
And since that moment, that was in July of 2017, I have been back in the US. And since I've been back here, I've lived in Chicago for a year and a half. I lived in Nashville for a couple of months. And now I'm here in Los Angeles. And I've
Nice.
been here for about 6 months. And
Wow.
I believe that I feel it in my heart that I'm really going to stay in LA for a while.
Hmm.
Hmm.
LA is a great place to be. I mean, I grew up near LA
Hmm.
when I was in California, and it's a crazy place. Absolutely. I mean, I was never near LA, but the people are really, really chill and relaxed, and you build an immediate connection with people around you there. It's really
Hmm.
awesome.
Yeah, for me specifically, I find it's almost like the creative Disneyland for adults.
Mm.
Whatever you want to do, the more eccentric you are, the better you're going to be received.
Yeah.
And I am an incredibly eccentric being, and I love to express myself in all the different forms. And I know that I'm here to shake some stuff up for people by just
Hmm.
me being myself and stepping into myself wholeheartedly and
Yeah.
completely. And I find that over the last 6 months, not even, I don't even think I've been here for 6 months, but
Hmm.
in the short amount of time that I've been here in LA, things have just happened and flowed so easily and effortlessly into me. And into what it is that I want to do in my life and my career choice. And it's just, I'm so incredibly grateful that I chose this path that I did. And yeah, I had to go through the last 30 years of my head in my hands going, what the, ah, you know?
Mhm. Mhm.
And now I finally feel that the weight has been lifted, the veil has been lifted, the rose colored glasses are turned off, whatever analogy you want to use. And it's go time. And I find that that's a collective feeling for a lot of people too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, 2020 is us about, it's about us initiating ourselves into this new earth paradigm, understanding that we are all creative beings, and
Mhm.
whatever way you want to express that creativity, you're going to be supported.
No, you're absolutely right. The year 2020, it almost was like a dream for all of us.
Mm.
And it's like, yeah, we are in 2020. What are you going to do? 30 years ago, used to be 1970s. Now 30 years ago is 1990.
Mm.
And with the communication and social media that's available to us today and now enables the world to be so much closer together. And with the advent of technology, the advent of people being more open about who they are, and mental health is getting a lot of attention from so many different places because a lot of important people have faced that kind of thing, and it's been around for a while. It's caused a lot of trouble. So I think we are entering an era where being open is what it's going to get you closer to who your audience or who your vibe is.
Mm. Yeah, closer to yourself, understanding
Exactly.
that the more we continue to open ourselves and be vulnerable in the spaces that feel a little uncomfortable, being okay to step into the discomfort, we're going to be received maybe not the way that we're expecting, but
Mm,
it's going to surpass what we were expecting. And we're going to receive exactly what we needed in that moment for us to be in our mission, be in our purpose. And
exactly.
that's what I really love about what's
Hmm.
going on. Like you just said, we are in this together. It really
Hmm.
does feel as if 2020, we all have done this collective whew, sigh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whew, what a decade that was just passed. And
Exactly.
now it's time to really step into ourselves and
Yeah.
really step up
Exactly. Got to
and
step it
and
up.
yeah, step it up. Hmm.
And what's amazing, the other day I was watching Neil deGrasse Tyson, Neil deGrasse Tyson, talking with Stephen Colbert, and what's amazing is that he was mentioning the world, the EPA, the World Health Organization, the climate, and the Earth Day is coming in April, I believe,
Mm,
and and he's like, let me tell you the history of you know because Earth Day is going to turn 50 years old this year.
mm,
It's because, and it all came together is when people went onto the moon, and they turned back and they looked at Earth, and they had never seen Earth like that before. It changed the perspective of everybody because you can no longer see the borders. You can no longer see the names of the countries. All you saw
mm,
was water, land, and clouds.
mhm,
This is where we live, and we're all in this together. So yes, and with coronavirus going around like right now, it doesn't care which part of the world you're from. No, it's going to affect every single person.
mhm,
So yes, we are in this together, and what we can do is to be compassionate towards each other and build a better world.
mhm.
Like
Yeah.
Michael Jackson saying, make this
Feel
world a
the
better place.
world make it a better
Better
place
place
for
for
you
you and for
me
me
and the
and
entire
the
human
human
race.
race.
Yep.
So yeah.
I love Michael Jackson.
Oh my God. You know, I love him too. When he passed away, I
Mhm.
was so devastated. I was so
Yeah.
devastated. It was insane.
August 2006. I remember where I was.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's thank you for mentioning coronavirus because for me, it feels as if it is a huge initiation for every single one of
Mm-hmm.
us. And every single one of us is being asked, how do you want to step into this? And how do you want to show up for yourself
Yeah.
and the greater collective?
Yeah.
And there is a lot of fear mongering, of course. There's a lot of
Mm-hmm.
fear paradigms going on, a lot of lack, a lot of scarcity.
Yes.
And it's asking each and every single one of the individuals, okay, there is this fear, there is this mass hysteria.
Mm-hmm.
Are you prepared to put on your rainbow warrior suit and step into that grounded space for everybody else who's in a space of chaos?
Yeah.
Or do you want to step into that fear? And that's okay too, because everyone's
Mm-hmm.
on their own timeline, everyone's in their own process with things.
Exactly.
And when this stuff arises, we are being asked, how do you want to show up?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to
And
step up into love or fear? That's really what it boils down to.
it is, yeah. What are you gonna
Mm-hmm.
do? And it's just it's just mind-boggling what's happening. And everybody's asking the question, why are people hoarding toilet paper?
Right.
I don't get it. I haven't read the article CNN wrote, like why are people hoarding toilet paper?
It makes it, it's wackadoodle doo, man. That's
Yeah.
honestly my scientific answer to that is it is all wackadoodle doo, hoo ha, hippity doo wah. It is just so funny that is where we're at. You go to the grocery store, there's an abundance of food out there.
Mhm.
There's no toilet paper, no paper towels, no tissues.
Oh,
I mean,
what's gonna be next? What is gonna be next? Is it gonna be, towels? Maybe towels
mhm,
are running out. But again,
it's
you gotta look at
wild.
what's sustainable. Why
Mhm.
why aren't people getting the things that are sustainable rather than things that aren't? It's just amazing. I
Mhm.
guess one of the
Yeah.
things that they are also mentioning that you want to use tissues, whatever, and then you throw it away because it has the germs. Sure, I guess that makes sense. But if you're isolating yourself, I don't know. I don't know if I want to get into that.
Mm.
But that's the state of the world. So tell us, what motivates you for the things that you do, and what are you doing on a daily basis? What
Mm.
is it that you do?
Yeah, what's a day in the life?
Yeah, I was today in the life Kiki Connects.
Yeah, Kiki Connects, day in the life. I wake up in the morning and I do my ritual, of course. Normally what that entails is I meditate and I meditate for between 33 to 60 minutes, just depending on what my day looks like. And
Hmm.
then I like to prime myself afterwards. So every single time after I meditate, I set an alarm for 7 minutes. And this is an activity that I received from a workshop with Kyle Cease. I don't know if you know him or are aware of
Hmm.
him, but he's a really cool motivational speaker dude
Hmm.
who used to be on SNL and this big comedian type, and he changed the trajectory of his life and became a motivational speaker.
Hmm.
And he does this activity where you put on an alarm for 7 minutes,
Yeah.
and in that 7 minutes you choose a time in the future and you anchor yourself into that time. You act as if you are there and you talk about all the things and all the things that you have accomplished from that moment. So you're putting everything, all your goals and aspirations and your dreams into the future as if it's already happened. And I find that when I slip into that space and when I do that every single day, I have physically felt and noticed mentally and emotionally that worry and stress and anxiety just melts off of me.
Yeah.
Because no longer am I worried about what's going on in the future. I really believe that there are a lot of people who like to talk about the past a lot more, or they go more so into the future. I'm much more of a future thinker, and sometimes that can create a lot of anxiety for me. And so I use this activity every single morning to dissolve that. So anyways, that's me in a nutshell in the morning. And what I do every single day is I support men who are lost and struggling, and I help them find their power again. I call myself a men's birthing coach because I am, yes, of course, the coach, transformational mentor, all the regular jargon and everything, but I wanted to set myself up a little bit outside of the spectrum that people would normally think of those words. And I do that. I also am writing a book right now called Mindfuck to Mind Starvation. And it's all about ways in which the mind can be worked with instead of demonized. And it talks about all my crazy stories and going into the experience of ascending to a higher level of consciousness and what that really means and what we can do and how we can not feel alone anymore. Because we're never truly alone.
No.
We're always surrounded around people, of course, but also we can tap into other frameworks, different levels of God and different levels of angels and ascended masters. And they're here to help us. They're here to help us move forward with our direct mission.
Yeah.
And so my book that I'm currently writing, and it's set to be published in August.
Nice.
And my
That's awesome.
book that I'm currently writing is to support people through their process and also talk about mine and be vulnerable and honest about where I've been and how I got to where I am right now.
That's really powerful. I love it.
Yeah, so it's cool. I have a big whiteboard in my office,
That's what I'm missing. Oh my God.
yes,
I don't have a whiteboard in my
yes.
office.
Oh my gosh, I have a huge whiteboard in my office and I've got a bunch of colors, and I see this every single day when I wake up. And I come here in the morning. It's got my goals for the month of March.
Yeah.
And every single day I look at the title of my book and it says it's a New York Times bestseller. And I slip back into that space. If there's ever any time where, and then it tells, I support men who are lost and struggling. I help them find their power again. Boom, done. So I know what I'm here for. I know what I'm currently working on. And every single day when I slip into a space of self-doubt or anxiety or stress about, oh shit, what am I gonna do? No, I have daily check-ins with myself of, okay, what could I do right now? All right, let's close our eyes and let's imagine myself sitting on the couch with Oprah and she's holding up my book and we're laughing and we're giggling, and then I open my eyes and it's go time, baby, because that's where I want to go. And every single day, I think there's a misconception of the amount of self-work that it really does take, because in the collective sphere, in the general population, there's so much fear and so much scarcity. And we have got to continue remembering and reminding ourselves of what we're here to do, who we are. And that is something that doesn't just happen overnight. It's like going to the gym and exercising that muscle every single day and continuously throughout the day. And it never ends for me.
That is so correct, because you've got to put in the time. You've got to put in the work. And what's crazy, what we've been raised as, sure, we have that mindset. Okay, I already went to school. I already got my degree. Why do I need to work anymore? Right? I
Mm,
don't need to work on myself anymore because I want to have this degree. And people,
mhm,
fly those degrees around like, hey, I have a bachelor, I have a master's, I have a PhD, blah blah blah. I don't need to do anything else because people just need to pay me because I did this thing in the past, right?
mhm,
Instead of growing their mindset and growing and having a goal sheet and growing on a daily basis. And you're absolutely right. People do not think about the the time that it takes to actually build yourself up.
mm,
And what happens is when you're going to school, you're constantly learning, you're growing your mind, and you're basically building that muscle in your brain. But then after you're done, when you're not learning anymore, is when you start getting depressed. Is when you start getting, disarrayed. Oh, and then that's where the rat race and the routine comes into play. Where okay, oh, Friday nights we're gonna go out partying. For what
mm,
reason? No reason. We're just too tired of working. Like, why are you working where you need to,
mm,
spend all this money and waste all your money and your mind and muscle and brain cells and partying because you just want to disconnect from who you are to
mm,
be somebody who you want to be. So why don't you just
yeah.
meld the two people together?
Mm. And you know what I think it is? I think the lack of fulfillment occurs when
Yes.
there's no purpose and when there's no growth.
Yes.
And
Exactly.
those are the most pivotal experiences that we have to help us tap into our creativity, because every single person is here to be creative. Whatever
Yes.
way that means for you, go for it.
Yeah.
And therein lies the purpose, and therein lies the growth. Because when you're constantly stepping in that space of creativity with curiosity, there's always going to be some sort of challenge or obstacle that you need to overcome, and therein lies that growth. When you step
Yes.
into that, and then you feel so fulfilled because holy shit, I didn't know how to do that, and now I do, and I had
Mhm.
no idea what the solution to that was, and then here it is, and wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And I think that the system that we have now, and what you were talking about, that 9 to 5 system, going to work and then having
Mhm.
to, oh, just hang in there and trying to wait it out until Friday, and then, oh
Yeah.
shit, it's Monday again, and
Yes.
God, oh goodness gracious, what do I do? It's because there's no growth and there's no purpose. And amongst many and many other things, of course.
Exactly. Yeah.
But I really do believe that it boils down to those two things.
No, it does. And what's really amazing about living in this time and space is that we have access to all sorts of technology, all sorts of learning, tools, and you just have to have an open mind to be able to go out and search for that thing. And
Mm.
it's just crazy. Like I can't remember, can't even put my finger on it. But recently, I watched Tony's documentary. I
Mm.
hadn't seen
Yeah.
it. I'm not your guru. I hadn't seen it before. I heard about it, and I,
Mm.
I love Tony. I discovered him about 17 years ago. I was traveling for work, and it was like 2 a.m. 2 a.m. at the 2 a.m. at night, 2 in the, after night. Oh, what, I don't know how to say it, but I was watching TV and there's an infomercial came up. It was Tony Robbins
Of course.
talking about his personal power, and I watched him and I watched it, and I'm like, holy smokes, who is this man? I must
Mm.
order his CDs. So I ordered his CDs, and it's never been the same. So I
And
watched
that
this
was
show.
17 years
That was
ago.
17 years ago.
Wow.
And so I've been following his journey, and just earlier today, one of my connections on LinkedIn just posted a video about how unleash the power within, and Tony's coming to Australia in September, and he's basically encouraging everybody to go and check it out. So I messaged on there, and he's like, "Wow, that's really cool." And I'm thinking, like, the journey that Tony Robbins took himself is mind-boggling. Like, he started at the age of 15, or a much younger age, to get putting good stuff in his his mind.
Mhm.
And so I've been also watching his videos on Knowledge Builder Blueprint. And it's so powerful because those same things keep coming up. And you're right, you've got to have a whiteboard. You got to have some place that you see every day that has,
Mhm.
what goals do you have for today? What are you going
Yeah.
to do today with your life
Yeah.
that's going to get you to that next level that you want to
Absolutely.
be? And so I'm thinking, I'm looking around my office. I'm like, okay, I can put a whiteboard somewhere here for sure.
Yeah.
Because I need,
Whiteboard, alarms on your phone, reminding
yes,
yourself, okay, sit down for a second, be present with yourself,
yes,
remind yourself what you came here for. And, or a lot of people think, oh, you just got to sit on the, no, you can't just sit on the freaking couch.
no, you
You
can't.
have to step up and take a
Yes,
stand for yourself.
yeah,
And there are so many people that are going to go on that hamster wheel over and over and over and over again. Talk about the story that they're in.
yeah,
Tell themselves that they want to change, but not actually get off that hamster wheel. They're going to try
exactly.
and look at the same thing that got them on the hamster wheel, the same
Hmm.
strategy.
Yeah,
It's like that Einstein quote. You can't solve a problem with the same solution that got you into, or whatever it is. You know what I'm trying to
yes,
say.
yes. The
But
mindset you're
but
in
it's
is
so
not going to solve the
true.
problem that you have. You got to change
Yes,
your mindset.
perfect. Yeah, exactly. And it is so true. You have to take a stand for yourself
Hmm.
and say, okay, I'm changing this right now. And having a community, having some tangible and tactical tools,
Hmm.
and then also holding yourself accountable for this,
Yes,
because this is a job essentially, but it's the best job in the world, is
yes.
figuring out who you are and what you want to do in order to serve.
It's amazing, right? Because
Whew.
you get to work, you get to play with the operating system that you already have access to. You don't need to go buy anything else. Just
No.
put new stuff in it.
Yeah, you got to look within, knowing that
Hmm.
everything that you have is accessible to you in this now moment.
Yeah.
And there's so much of the looking at the external and everything. And I get that. I totally understand that we do need support from mentors and everything, because also they're just our mirrors reflecting back to us what we have inside.
Yes.
So it's all, whatever it is that makes you feel comfortable in figuring out who you are, go and do it. Right? For the people that are
Hmm.
going to be listening to this podcast, if you're looking for a sign, this is it.
Yes.
This
This
is
is a
it.
sign.
Step
Go.
into your, yes, this is a
Yes.
sign. Go figure yourself out. Sit with yourself for a second. Whatever the first idea or thought comes up, go and do that. Find a community. Reach out to someone. If there's some sort of course that you've been wanting to do, but it's $200 even and you can't afford, no, put it on a credit card. Boom,
Yeah.
done. Your body wants to do that. There's just a space of fear that's in your way, and all of these boundaries are telling you no, but you know deeply in your heart that this is a yes. We've just been packaged with so many programs that are overshadowing what's truly us, and what is us is purpose and
Exactly.
service. Mm.
Absolutely. What's beautiful is, I watched this 2019 commencement speech for Cal Poly Pomona the other day, and it's given by this gentleman, and he's like, I don't even remember who gave the commencement speech when I was graduating, and I want you to remember who I am.
Mm.
So he took off his black gown, and he's wearing this bright jacket that's got LED lights all around it. and on the back it says his name, Ashraf.
Mm,
And he gave one of the most amazing speeches, the commencement speeches that I've ever, heard. And it was so inspiring, so powerful. It just blew my mind. And he was like, do you want to know the reason why we are on this earth? There's two main reasons, but I'll tell you the second one. And the second one is we are here to help other people.
mm, mhm,
That's it. And when you help other people, guess what? You grow as a human being. You grow as a person that you were meant to be.
mhm,
And his name is Ashraf Habibullah. And he himself is a structural engineer. He's like, do you know what
mm,
structural engineers are? These are the people that design the structures that go inside buildings to make sure that they can withstand winds and earthquakes and whatnot. These are the people that are invisible. But then you don't need to be invisible to share who you are. So it's really powerful. And so
mm.
the one thing so the number one thing, the reason that we are on this earth is to worship, is to pray. And
Oh, absolutely.
meditation is a form of prayer because you are praying, you are centering yourself, you are, appreciating the human body that we have, which is a miracle. It's a miracle how our body even, works, like the mechanics around it. It's just amazing.
Yeah, prayer. I love that you said that
Mm,
because, and I really truly feel that I have a grandmother who is one of the most devoted people to God that I have ever met in my entire life. And
mm.
I have seen this woman through prayer and through worship go through three different types of cancer. One was
Wow.
breast, one was through the body, and I think the other one was, I can't remember it exactly at this time. And then she spent 10 years taking care of my grandfather who had very heavy Alzheimer's. And she is now 90 years old, and she's still living on the farm that she grew up in and she raised her kids in by
Wow.
herself. And I see her totally committed to showing up every single day,
Yeah.
even though she doesn't have much, she's 90 years old. What does she
Hmm.
got to do? Right.
Yeah.
But she's still taking care of that farm and
Mm.
figuring it out for herself and waking up every single morning and doing her exercises. She just broke her leg 2 years ago and she's
Oh wow.
driving again, her right
Wow.
leg. And it's incredible. And I'm
That
so
is
grateful that I've
it's amazing.
had that experience to watch her in her devotion,
Hmm.
because it's worship prayer. It's being devoted to that
Yes.
and understanding that it's so powerful. And I also had that come full circle for me last year. I started getting into the more of the indigenous communities in
Hmm.
South Dakota,
Yeah.
more specifically the Lakota Sioux
Hmm.
community up there. And I learned during that time, I spent a very large amount of time going to sweat lodges and praying to all different types of gods and all
Hmm.
different types of spirits and earth spirits and the star spirits and everything in between.
Mm.
And I started to really see myself in a different light and see myself shift.
Yeah.
So not only do I have the beautiful grandmother that has also gifted me my father, who has the devotion as well that he's received from his mom. And I've seen all of that combine to such a love and compassion for being. And I've also seen it in a different space that I
Hmm.
wasn't truly expecting, and really seeing the power that prayer can do. And just like meditation can also be a prayer. It's setting the intention for that. which
Absolutely.
also brings it all down into intention.
Yeah.
We can be praying and we can be devoted to everything that we are doing. It just depends on what intention we want to create with that, with
Exactly.
everything that we do.
Yeah.
And
That's so
it
powerful.
was, yeah, it was, and it's exactly like for example, right before I got in this call, and I thanked you and I thanked God for giving me the wisdom and courage to step into what exactly this conversation needs in
Mm,
order for the people who are listening to live their purpose, to be in joy, and to receive the clarity that they're seeking.
yeah.
And then I just sent it out to God. Said, thank you.
I love it. That's awesome.
Mm, mhm.
Well,
Yeah.
we did a lot of conversation we had. We went from your journey to where you've lived to the journey to God and to journey to our mind and space, and it's been an awesome conversation. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're so welcome. Thank you so much for showing up in the way that you do and
Thank
having
you.
that wisdom and having that courage to be in this space, holding this container for people to awaken in whatever way, shape, and form they need to.
Yeah,
And I really admire that.
absolutely. I do have a
Hmm.
couple of questions, quick
Yeah,
questions
of course.
towards the end. All right. What is one hobby that you wish you got into?
Ooh, music.
Mm,
Yep, 100% without a doubt in my mind, music, because that
nice.
is, oof, yeah. And that's not something that I'm totally 100% out of. I
Mm-hmm.
still I sing a lot and I do that, but this year I want to do more of that. Not
Nice.
necessarily for professional purposes, but just
Mm-hmm.
to keep my creativity going.
Yeah. Music
Mhm.
has music has some very different effects on the mind. Music and dancing actually has helped a lot of people with Alzheimer's. It's pretty amazing.
Mhm.
Like it
Yeah.
wakes them up or triggers those memories in their mind that come back and tell them who they are.
Mm. Yeah, I have to dance all the time. I
Hmm.
dance, I would say at least 2 times a week.
Nice. Our next question. What is your favorite movie or TV show?
Oh, that's a hard one. You know what I actually did
Or
watch
you can pick a
recently?
book, even.
Oh, my one of my favorite books that helped me on the trajectory that I'm on right now
Hmm.
is it's called The Gene Keys by
Okay.
Richard Rudd, and that is one of the most pivotal. I wouldn't even call it a book. It's more like it's more like a textbook,
Nice.
but it talks about all of the different shadow sides that each one of us carry and
Hmm.
how to ascend through that. And Richard Rudd is a very well renowned poet throughout the
Mm.
entire world. And the way
Yeah.
in which he articulates himself and articulates what's going on for each one of us, it is
Mhm.
like, ooh, just reading him is activating.
Nice. I love it.
Hmm.
Absolutely amazing. All right. So you already told the book that you like. You didn't have a movie or TV show, which is fine. So I'll modify the next question. What if you were to pick a book, or what book would you choose if you got to play a character in it?
Oh, that's a really good question. Uh, you know what? I
Mm.
don't know about a book, but I would love so what my
Well, movie. Yeah. So the question
yeah,
would be,
yeah, let's go to the movie. Let's just switch it up like that.
yeah.
What I would love to have is I would love to have my own series, to be completely
Mm-hmm.
honest. I don't know if you ever watched or you heard of the series Girls by Lena Dunham, which was an HBO series
Mm-hmm.
a couple years ago.
Yeah. I have not. I
Uh,
don't think so.
I would love to have something similar to that, but just
Mm-hmm.
in my own trajectory of my life.
Nice. I think
Hmm.
that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right. Who is your favorite superhero?
Ooh, my favorite superhero. Hmm. I would say my mom.
Nice.
She is my twin soul. I am so deeply, deeply appreciative of the person she is and the way in which she shows up every single day. And she's not only my mom, but she's my best friend. She's my therapist. And I feel so grateful to even say those things because I know a lot of people don't have that sort of experience with their mom. My mom knows everything about me, and I mean everything. And that's pretty terrifying if I were to even shed a very small percentage to my father or to anyone else, right? And I am incredibly grateful for her. Yeah.
Beautiful. I love it. All right. Next up, if you were a board game, what would it be?
It would be my own rendition of the game of life, but in a way that it was taken off. It's like almost as if Dr. Seuss created his own game of life, and each of the different parts helped you to challenge yourself through a rhyming limerick of some sort of question that you had to answer for yourself, but it was like doing your own experience of self-work, but told through a way that was so amusing that you were just pulled into this game and you didn't want to leave it. And maybe it goes for a couple of days, who knows?
Nice.
And people can come in and out. There's no rules essentially about you've got to stay here and go here and do this. It's the game of life.
Nice. That's really
and
cool.
there's no one path. So there's a bunch of different paths.
Well, there are multiple or new board games coming out every month. Maybe it could be something that you could work on after your book is done.
I've never been asked that question before, but I think that would be a really good board game.
Yeah. Amen. All right, last question. Where can my audience find you?
Great question. It's all Kiki Connects. So KikiConnects.1 is ONE is my website. And then Instagram is Kiki Connects. My YouTube is Kiki Connects. It's all Kiki Connects. Facebook, I'm Kiki Connects.
Nice.
And I love having new friends and new connections, making new connections all the time. This is why my name is Connects, right? So please reach out to me. I would love to talk to all the humans that are listening to this and see what is in store for us. Because I think that if we open the container of, okay, cool, what can we collaborate with? Or how can I support you? How can you support me? We're continuing the ripple effect of all of us coming together in this time.
I love it. Thank you so much. That was awesome. Just like you've built your brand around Kiki Connects, I created mine as Super Junaid a long time ago. So that's where that's what I call myself everywhere. But I like the way you've taken that and be like, that's my official name. I am Kiki Connects. My last name is Connects.
Yep. It's happening.
Awesome. It's happening. Well, Kiki, thank you so much for your time. Really love talking to you. And
thank
till
you,
the next one.
Yeah, thank you.
Have a good one. Thank you for listening to Hacks and Hobbies. You can find additional information on the guest today on their website, hacksandhobbies.com. Please feel free to subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss out on upcoming interviews with amazing guests.